David here with Figboot on pens, back again with another fountain pen review. Today I have for you a brand new pen from Bennu, which is offered as an exclusive through Goldspot Pens. It is the Talisman Shooting Star. What I'm going to do today is go over the parts and features of the Shooting Star. I'll talk about what I care for and what I don't care for about the pen. I'll show some measurements, size comparisons, and provide a writing sample. Thanks go out to the good folks at Goldspot for providing this pen for review. Some things I want to discuss about Bennu right off the start. As you might already know, Bennu is a company originally based out of Moscow, Russia. Recent events have put the owners of the company in a very difficult position. They have stated publicly that they are in strong opposition to the military aggression Russia has been taking in Ukraine, so much so that they have moved their operations from Russia to Armenia. Now, I don't want a political discussion to dominate a fountain pen review, but it is a difficult situation that I felt it was important to address. In regard to the pen I have for you today, 10% of the proceeds will be donated to the International Rescue Committee, which provides vital support to millions of displaced Ukrainian refugees. Goldspot has also made it a point to say that payment for these pens were made through Bennu's Armenian bank rather than any Russian financial institutions. We can only hope that things are resolved as soon as possible in the region for everyone's sake. I do have a request, though. In regard to the YouTube comments, I very rarely censor comments. Someone really needs to significantly step over the line in order for me to delete a comment. I'd ask that we keep the comments below in the comment section very civil on this video. I don't want to see anyone taking out their warranted frustrations and anger at a government on a company which has nothing to do with heinous actions. Positive vibes, positive thoughts, please. I appreciate it. And now I will try to make an awkward transition into a fountain pen review. The pen arrives in this standard Bennu box. Inside we have a couple of things. There is some product information and warranty information. There is some information behind this Shooting Star pen and the materials infused within. I'll discuss that here in a bit. There is also a standard international long cartridge. And then this pen is in a paper sleeve. You know what? I've always liked the little bird's nest of paper that the pen sits on in the Bennu boxes. And then inside the sleeve, we have the pen. This is the Talisman Shooting Star. Now, a talisman is an object believed to bring the owner good luck. They could be things like rings or stones or something engraved with symbols in order to bring good luck or keep away evil. Each of the pens in this line have been infused with a unique material with some mythological properties. I've previously reviewed different versions of this pen, and you can check out that review if you would care to learn about the entire lineup and the special materials infused in each. I thought there were some sharp-looking models in that original batch. This Shooting Star model is infused with a powder made from meteorite. Now, a shooting star is not actually a star. It's a meteor entering the Earth's atmosphere. Now, if that meteor survives the trip through the atmosphere and hits the ground, it is called a meteorite. The magical, mystical attribute associated with shooting stars is the ability to grant wishes and dreams, which isn't a bad ability to have, even if it is mythical. This pen is made from some interesting resin. The barrel and cap have octagonal facets which alternate down the length of the pen. Then we have the ends of the pen, which are a more milky sky blue. These portions actually glow in the dark. Here's one picture of it, but I'll show you in the writing sample in more detail what that looks like. It looks pretty cool. Now, something I like is that the material looks nice in its non-glow state. There are some glowing materials that look great when they're glowing, but when they're in their, we'll call it dormant state, it isn't quite as attractive in my opinion. I actually like this material in both states. The light blue transitions into a deep shimmering blue, and in those transitions are some iridescent stars. Bennu is well known for materials with a great deal of flair and pizzazz. While I feel these stars bring a bit of that to this pen, I don't feel it's overdone. I will admit that many Bennu models have a bit more flair than my personal tastes can accommodate. I do like the deep blue portion of this material. When it hits the light just right, it really does look like a star-filled night sky. Okay, let's take a look at the top of the cap. It is rounded and contains a cluster of stars. Then we have the clip. It's a sword-shaped rocker clip. If you press down on the back, the front lifts up for ease of use in thicker materials, but for thinner materials, the clip operates just fine without any manual assistance. There is no traditional cap band, but at the end of the cap, it has the Bennu name filled with a silver acrylic. There is a medium-sized step down from the cap to the barrel. The barrel kind of stair-steps down as the facets alternate until you get to the end where the end of the barrel is slightly concave. The cap twists off with 2 1/4 rotations, and underneath we have a number 6 Schmidt stainless steel nib. It comes in either fine, medium, or broad. I've always felt that Schmidt nibs were a bit underrated. Just about every Schmidt nib I've tested performed really well, and the one on this pen was no exception. And here's a look at the plastic feed. The section begins with a medium-sized flare. It is on the thinner side, but angles up a bit until you reach the resin threads and a 2-tiered step up to the remainder of the barrel. This section is plenty long enough that it is comfortable in my hand, that the cap does post. It does post securely, and the cap is fairly light, so I don't feel it backweights the pen, so if you enjoy posting your cap, then this is a good pen for that. This is a cartridge converter pen. It accepts standard international cartridges, both long and short, and a converter is included. With the lack of metal in this pen and the barrel's one-piece construction, with the appropriate amount of silicone grease here on the threads, the pen should work just fine as an eyedropper. The Bennu Talisman Shooting Star is a limited edition of 300 units and available exclusively through Goldspot pens. The pen retails for $139, which is in line with the other glowing Talisman models. The non-glowing models retail for $129, and I feel that $139 price is reasonable in regard to a price point for this pen. It's well made, it has a unique look, and as you'll see in the writing sample, it performs nicely as well. As I mentioned previously, 10% of the proceeds from this pen are being donated to the International Rescue Committee, which provides vital supplies to millions of displaced Ukrainian refugees. I'll put a link in the notes below to where you can find this pen on the Goldspot site. And I'll also provide a link to the International Rescue Committee as well. IRC is a well-established, well-known charity which has earned a variety of high remarks from a number of charity watchdog groups, so which is nice to hear. Okay. Now it is time for some measurements, size comparisons, and a writing sample. Here we go with some size comparisons for the Bennu Talisman Shooting Star. You know what, before we get started, let me go ahead and turn off the lights and charge this up and show you what it looks like in the dark. There you go. That's what it looks like in the dark. I actually think it looks pretty cool. It's not like overly bright, and the blue, it's really a kind of a blue with just a hint of green to it, but I think it looks really nice. And here we go in regard to some size comparisons. Here it is with another Talisman. This one was the Dragon's Blood. And then here it is with a Bennu Euphoria, which is one of the larger pens they produce. And here it is with the Bennu Tessera. In regard to a couple of different pens, here it is with a TWSBI Eco and a Lamy All-Star. And then finally here it is with a Pilot Metropolitan. In regard to some uncapped comparisons, here's what it looks like with that Euphoria. And then here it is with the Eco. And finally, here it is with the All-Star. Here we go with the writing sample for the Bennu Talisman Shooting Star. And this is a medium stainless steel nib. And the ink that I'm using here today is Colorverse Pillars of Creation. I thought it only appropriate to use a kind of star-based ink for this star-based pen. This is what the ink looks like. It's kind of a deep purple with a nice green sheen to it. This is what it looks like in regard to Colorverse Andromeda. And then here it is with Kiwi Ink's Tricolory Purple. This is what the Colorverse bottles look like. I do have a review of this Pillars of Creation if you'd care to see a full review on this ink. It's really, really cool. And here we go with the rest of the writing sample. I do find this medium nib to be very generous. It is on the fat side of medium, very much on the broad side of medium. You can get a little bit of line variation out of there. That's rather extreme for just a straight medium standard stainless steel nib. In regard to the ink flow, like I mentioned, it's rather generous. In regard to reverse writing, it is a little scratchy, but it does lay down kind of a nice medium fine line. In regard to some fast writing, the feed has no issue in keeping up. So there we have the Bennu Talisman Shooting Star. I think this is a rather interesting addition to the Bennu lineup. As I mentioned before, this is an exclusive offering at Goldspot Pens. I'll go ahead and put a link in the notes below where you could check it out on their site. Until next time, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.